helpful to understand here, but on page 1 under the exhibits, we have here a list of items that were sent in for testing and comparison. Is that right?
Yes.
And throughout the report refers to the items compared by the lab number. Is that right?
Yes.
So if we can scroll down just to the bottom of this first page, and here in the DNA analysis section, again, we see that the report or the author refers to the items by their exhibits numbers, right?
Yes.
Okay. And if we can go to page 2, and same question here. The exhibit number on the left, if we want to know what exhibit number that is, we have to refer back to page 1 for the description, right?
Yes.
Okay. And let's keep going to page 3. If we can just scroll through page 3, 4, and land on page 5. Actually, pause right there if you will. This is page 4. There's a description section here as well, and that description talks about where the swabbing that's used to compare what was swabbed for the comparison. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, let's go to page 5. So as we look at this first paragraph here under statistical analysis, let's see if you have this notated or no. Exhibits 1.1 and 1.4. Do you know what that is referring to?
Yep, they're referring to 1.1 is swabs of the stock and grips of the rifle, and then 1.4 is swabs of the bolt of the rifle with possible ridge detail and or smudging.
Okay. Will you read paragraph D?
Yes. The DNA profiles are at least 1 trillion times more likely if they originated from Tyler Robinson, Exhibit 7.1, as a contributor to the major components and 3 unrelated unknown individuals than if they originated from 4 unrelated unknown individuals.
And again, that's swabs of the grips and the bolt. Stock and grips and bolt, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Number 2, calculation number 2. Where is this swab taken from?
Exhibit 1.2 would be swabs of the butt plate of the rifle.
And will you read paragraph D here?
The DNA profile is at least 1 trillion times more likely if it originated from Tyler Robinson as a major component and 4 unrelated unknown individuals than if it originated from 5 unrelated unknown individuals.
Looking at calculation number 3, exhibit 1.3, what areas were swabbed for this comparison?
1.3 is swabs of the trigger and trigger guard of the rifle with possible ridge detail and or smudging.
We read paragraph D.
The DNA profile is at least 1 trillion times more likely if it originated from Tyler Robinson as a major component and 3 unrelated unknown individuals than if it originated from 4 unrelated unknown individuals.
If we can go to page 6. Calculation number 4, exhibits 1.5 and 5.1. What are those?
1.5 are swabs of the fore end of the rifle, and 5.1 is swabs of one 30-06 cartridge.
And again, that cartridge came from where?
From the firearm.
Will you read paragraph D?
The DNA profiles are at least 1 trillion times more likely if they originated from Tyler Robinson as the major components and 2 unrelated unknown individuals than if they originated from 3 unrelated unknown individuals.
All right, let's look at calculation number 5, 1.6 and 3.1. What are those?
1.6 is swabs of the barrel of the rifle with possible ridge detail and or smudging, and 3.1 is swabs of one 30-06 cartridge.
And that 30-06 cartridge came from where?
From the firearm.
We read paragraph D.
The DNA profiles are at least 1 trillion times more likely if they originated from Tyler Robinson as a contributor to the major components and 2 unrelated unknown individuals than if they originated from 3 unrelated.
2, if you'll look at the next, skip the next line and then go to the Exhibit 2 cartridge case, will you read that sentence?
Yes. The Exhibit 2 cartridge case was identified as having been fired in the Exhibit 1 rifle.
Okay, now I want to jump back up to the top where it lists the exhibits. 2 through 5, will you explain what those are and where they came from?
Yes. That would be the items we found in the gun on scene. And this was the gun that was found in the wooded area.
And so the cartridge case is the round that had been, is the case that had been fired.
Yes.
Okay, so that's number 2. All right. I can't remember. Did we already read that line? Exhibit 2, cartridge case?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Will you also look at or read the last paragraph on this page?
Yes. The Exhibit 2 cartridge case and Exhibit 3 through 5 cartridges were examined for the presence of comparable tool marks. Tool marks were located on the exterior of the Exhibit 2 cartridge case and Exhibit 3 cartridges, in parentheses scribe marks, that are consistent with being produced by engravings and or rotary cutting tips commonly found.
Let's scroll down, please, Kimberly.
Installed in handheld rotary tools, such as a Dremel tool. These tool marks contain marks of value for comparison if a suspect tool is located.
Okay. I'd ask to scroll back up to show the exhibit list. Number 6. What is Exhibit 6?
Exhibit 6 is the bullet fragment, the bullet jacket fragment, as well as some other fragments that were recovered from Mr. Kirk at the time of autopsy.
Thank you. Going back to page 2, will you read the first full paragraph there, beginning with Exhibit 6?
Yes. Exhibit 6 consists of one .30 caliber class deformed damaged bullet jacket fragment and 4 lead fragments.
Will you read the next paragraph as well?
The Exhibit 6A bullet jacket fragment cannot be identified or excluded as having been fired from the Exhibit 1 rifle based on an agreement of all discernible class characteristics and neither sufficient agreement nor sufficient disagreement of individual characteristics. The results of the comparison was inconclusive.
And if you'll look at the line starting with the Exhibit 6B through 6E, will you read that sentence as well?
The Exhibit 6B through 6E lead fragments are not suitable for microscopic comparison.
Thank you. We can take Exhibit 32 down. Exhibit 33, if we can show that just to the witness, please. You recognize Exhibit 33?
Yes.
What is that?
Exhibit 14, and noting the standing objections by defense concerning 1102s, the court accepts into evidence states Exhibit 14 and pursuant to the parties is not published.
Thank you, Judge. All right, I want to move on to another topic. You've stated that you've been present for the duration as the case agent of the preliminary hearing. Is that right?
Yes.
We heard testimony yesterday about turning to the scene at UVU on September 10th, that a bullet was found on a roof. Do you remember that testimony?
I do.
Do you have knowledge about that bullet, what that is about?
Yes, I do.
What roof was that bullet found on?
I believe it was found on the computer science building on the roof, on the far east side of the roof of the building itself.
How do you know that it was found there?
I reviewed the agent's report that found that, documented it, and collected it.
What agent was that?
It was Agent Ben Schneider with SBI.
Are you aware of where the computer science building is on campus?
Yes, yes.
Can you explain generally where that is located?
Yeah, from where the Losi building is, it's a building directly kind of south and east of there, from the Losi.
Southeast from the Losi building. Where is it in connection to the auditorium section that we've been talking about where Mr. Kirk was stationed?
It's east of there. East and a little bit south, and mostly east.
Would there have been, from that roof of the computer science building, to your knowledge, would there have been a line of sight to Mr. Kirk's tent?
No, not according to the agent, Agent Ben Schneider. There was not a line of sight from there to where the tent was, where Mr. Kirk was.
Did you learn from Agent Snyder what caliber that bullet was?
Yes, I did.
And what was that?
It was a .223 caliber.
What is a live round?
It's a round that had not been fired, so it still had the projectile and as a fully functional bullet with ammunition with the bullet.
Did you learn if this .223 bullet found on top of the computer science building was a live round?
Yes.
And how do you know that?
It was still intact. Still had the primer had not been was not dented, not been fired. It still had the bullet projectile in the end and still sealed.
Did you observe this bullet personally, or is this information you're getting from Agent Snyder?
From Agent Ben Schneider.
All right, turning to a different topic. And Judge, I'm aware that there are going to be some objections about this that we'll have to address, but I just want to lay a little bit of foundation first before we get there. You've mentioned him already. Are you familiar with?
We're focused solely on, I've accepted what you've said, but I said that it's limited to this question and then we're moving on. Because anything further is going outside of probable cause.
I misunderstood. I apologize to the court.
And I apologize if I wasn't clear on that, so maybe it was my error not communicating. I've accepted that coming in, I've overruled the objection, but I said, we're gonna leave that where it is and then move forward.
And that's where I'm unclear. When the court says move forward, no more questions about any further criticisms beyond that one?
On this line of question, that's correct. Because
Okay.
Thank you,
All right.
Mr. Burt.
And I think I've made the proffer in terms of the relevancy of it.
And I accept that, so thank you,
Thank you.
Mr. Burt.
All right, then the last area is, in the years that you've been doing this testing, is it true that you've only taken one proficiency test that involves bullet comparisons?
Yes, I've only had the opportunity to take one bullet proficiency test so far.
And is it true that that was in 2023?
I don't remember the exact year, but that sounds correct, yes.
Right. And is it true that that proficiency test involved a test where you had question bullets, and then you had two sets of bullets, one that was fired from one gun, not the suspect gun, and then a second gun that was fired from another gun?
I don't remember the exact final ground truth answers that were there. No, I'm sorry, I don't remember.
I think when you and I talked about this, you said you're aware of a controversy about that particular test, correct?
I was aware, yes, of the results of the proficiency test, yes.
That there was a very high error rate in that particular proficiency test, right?
There was a higher error rate, yes. However, my answers were satisfactory, along with the 5 other examiners at my specific laboratory that took it as well.
Your conclusion in that case was, as in this case, that it was inconclusive, correct?
Correct.
Even though the correct answer was that the bullets did not come from the question, the two did not match, the known in the question should have been an elimination.
The ground truth answer was yes, they were excluded. However, an inconclusive result in this comparison was extremely appropriate. The lack of quality and quantity of those individual characteristics never reached sufficient agreement, nor did it ever reach sufficient disagreement. So saying anything but inconclusive was not appropriate.
I see. And can you have bullets fired from different weapons that can have individual characteristics that look pretty similar?
There is occasions, yes, that tool marks that are made by and stuff, but there has also been plenty of research done to say the opposite.
And lastly, you mentioned that, or it was brought out that you have training and experience, right?
Correct, yes.
Do you agree with the conclusion stated in the section of the report, the PCAP report, that neither experience nor professional practices can substitute for foundational validity? Do you agree with that?
I do, yes.
You agree with the conclusion reached in the PCAP report that a forensic science discipline that has an error rate higher than 5% is not reliable?
I don't know that I have opinion to that because I think it's a little on the broad side. I don't know what you would consider high as far as a percentage.
Well, I'm referring to the statement at page 151 where they say methods with a high false positive rate are scientifically unreliable for making important judgments in court about the source of a sample. To be considered reliable, the false positive rate should certainly be less than 5%, and it may be appropriate that it be considerably lower depending on the intended application.
I would agree with that statement.
You would agree with that. And you also lastly reference your knowledge of the study by the AFTE of that proficiency, the one proficiency test which you have taken on bullet comparisons, correct?
Correct.
And the error rate in that particular study, proficiency test, was 20.4%, correct?
Correct.
For item 2, 18.2% for item 3, and 18.9% for item 5.
I believe those were the results. However, I don't agree that proficiency tests are what are used for validation studies to show foundational validity.
So
Proficiency,
if the error rates are high, then they shouldn't be relied upon to show invalidity, but they should be relied upon to establish that your experience means that your science is valid? Is that what you're saying?
foundational studies are looking at, just as PCAS said, those black box studies, different test design, all of which firearm and toolmark community has conducted. We've looked at cartridge cases, bullet, pristine samples, damaged samples, and different firearms. Proficiency test is looking at the accuracy of an examiner's results, not foundational validity.
But you would agree that an error rate of 20% is unacceptable, would establish unreliability, correct?
I would agree that those results need to be looked at to see where that error was coming from.
Right, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anything further for this witness? And Mr. McBride, I'm going to limit you because your objection to going outside and going to 702, you
Have a policy for preserving samples for independent testing by the defense?
Where possible, we will not consume samples where it's possible.
And that policy is a longstanding one, not only in your lab, but pretty much everywhere in forensic DNA analysis, right?
That's correct.
Goes back to 1996, does it not, when the National NRC recommended a policy that samples be split wherever possible at the front end of the analysis to allow for independent examination.
Where possible, yes, that's correct.
Right, and they did that because it was their conclusion, was it not, that a wrongfully accused person's best insurance against a possibility of being falsely incriminated is the opportunity to have the testing repeated. Such an opportunity should be provided whenever feasible.
Correct.
Okay, could you now go back to Exhibit 30? Page 8. Were certain DNA samples consumed in your analysis?
Yes, they were.
And for the record, are those listed on page 8 of your report?
Yes, they are.
Which samples were entirely consumed in your analysis?
That would be exhibits 1.4, 1.6, 1.9, 1.10, 1.12, 2.1, 3.1, 4.1, and 5.1.
Okay. Then are there a number of samples listed above there in the report where you say the DNA extracts will be retained? And then you list 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.5, 1.7, 1.8, 1.13, 7.1, and 8.1.
Correct.
Does that mean that those are all swab samples, correct?
They were swabs, yes.
All right. Does your report mean that you consume the swabs, but you have some liquid extract remaining as to those samples?
Correct.
Now, are all of the samples, let's talk about the samples in Plaintiff's Exhibit 30. Were all of the samples you looked at there mixed samples?
I referred